You're wasting your life with those silly designs, my mother spat, tossing my portfolio across the dining room table. The carefully arranged sketches scattered like autumn leaves, some floating to the floor where coffee had spilled earlier. I watched a particularly detailed evening gown design land in the brown puddle, bleeding ink across the marble tiles. My name is Stacy, and that was the last dinner I ever had with my family. Mom, please, I said, dropping to my knees to gather the drawings. These aren't just doodles. I've been accepted to the Fashion Institute. I can make this work. Make what work? Stephanie, my older sister, smirked from her seat. Playing dress-up while the rest of us live in reality? She waved her Yale Law acceptance letter like a victory flag. Dad cleared his throat, straightening his tie the way he always did before delivering bad news to his employees. Stacy, we've made a decision. The house is being remortgaged to cover Stephanie's law school tuition. There's nothing left for whatever this is. He gestured vaguely at my ruined portfolio. Nothing left? I echoed, my voice hollow. You're spending $300,000 on her degree, but you won't even consider helping me with a $30,000 program, because her degree will lead to a real career. Mom slammed her hand on the table, making the china rattle. Look at yourself, 22 years old and still playing with colored pencils. When I was your age, you were already married to Dad and planning the perfect family, I finished. Yeah, I know. Except I'm not you, Mom. I don't want to be you. The silence that followed was deafening. Get out! Mom's voice was ice. If you're so determined to throw your life away, do it somewhere else. We won't fund this delusion. Stephanie's triumphant smile made my stomach turn. Don't worry, sis. When I'm a successful attorney, maybe I'll hire you to design my courtroom outfits. I stood up slowly, clutching my damaged sketches. You know what? Keep the money. Keep your perfect little family dynamic. I'll make it on my own. With what? Dad scoffed. Your bank account has maybe $200 in it. You have no skills, no connections. I have talent, I cut him off, and determination. Sometimes that's enough. Mom laughed, that cruel, tinkling sound I'd grown to hate. Talent? Sweetheart, I've seen better designs in department store catalogs. You're not special. You're just stubborn. I ran upstairs to my room, throwing essentials into a suitcase. Clothes, my laptop, and my most precious possession. A vintage sewing machine I'd bought with 2 years of babysitting money. The rest of my supplies would have to stay behind. When I came back down, Stephanie was popping champagne with our parents. To Yale! She exclaimed, not even looking my way. To reality checks, Mom added, raising her glass. I walked out without saying goodbye, dragging my suitcase behind me. The late summer air was thick with humidity, and somewhere in the distance, thunder rolled. Perfect weather for a dramatic exit, I thought bitterly. At the end of the driveway, I stopped at the garbage bins. My portfolio was beyond saving, coffee-stained and torn. With trembling hands, I dropped it into the trash, watching years of work disappear into the darkness. Excuse me, a voice said behind me. Are those fashion sketches? I turned to find a woman in her 50s, elegant in a crisp white blazer, peering into the bin. She reached in and pulled out one of my designs, a red cocktail dress with an asymmetrical neckline. They're nothing, I said quickly, embarrassed. Just some silly drawings. She held the sketch up to the streetlight, examining it with intense focus. Silly? This is innovative. The structure, the flow. Who taught you? No one. I taught myself. She pulled out a business card, offering it with perfectly manicured fingers. I'm Margaret from the Fashion Forward Foundation. We fund promising new designers. Call me tomorrow. That is, if you're serious about turning these silly drawings into something real. I took the card, my hand shaking. Behind me, laughter erupted from the house, my family, celebrating their version of success without me. Thank you, I managed to say, but Margaret was already walking away, her heels clicking purposefully on the pavement. I looked down at the card, then back at my childhood home. The porch light flickered once, twice, like the universe sending me a signal. Sometimes the world has a funny way of catching you when you fall. Or maybe it's just karma, setting the stage for what comes next. I pulled out my phone and booked a one-way ticket to Los Angeles. It was time to show them exactly what silly drawings could become. Los Angeles wasn't kind in those first few months. I worked the morning shift at a coffee shop, the afternoon shift at a fabric store, and spent my nights hunched over my sewing machine in a cramped studio apartment I shared with 2 other girls. "Order up!" I called out, sliding a latte across the counter. The customer, a fashion blogger I recognized from Instagram, didn't even look up from her phone. I watched her walk away in a dress that probably cost more than my monthly rent. During breaks, I sketched designs on napkins and receipt paper. My manager caught me once, rolling her eyes. "Honey, we all have dreams in LA. But right now, you're paid to serve coffee, not daydream." That night, I posted my first design on Instagram under the name Iris Noir. Just a simple black dress with an unexpected cutout back. No face, no real name, just the design speaking for itself. 3 likes, 2 from bots. "Keep going," Margaret had said during our first meeting at the foundation. "Success isn't overnight. It's built in the quiet hours when everyone else is sleeping." So I did. I worked, I designed, I posted. Day after day, piece by piece. Then came the message that changed everything. "OMG, is this available for purchase?" The notification lit up my phone at 2 a.m. The sender was a minor reality TV star with 500,000 followers. I nearly dropped my coffee pot the next morning when I saw her follow-up message. "I need this for an event next week. Name your price." I stayed up all night sewing, my fingers bleeding from pinpricks. The dress cost me $89 in materials. I charged $500 and felt guilty about it. She posted a photo wearing it. By midnight, my inbox had exploded. "Stacy!" a familiar voice called out across the coffee shop a week later. "Stacy! Oh my God!" I looked up to see Greta, my best friend from high school, waving frantically. She'd moved to LA years ago to work in PR. "I can't believe it's you!" She hugged me tight, then pulled back. "Wait, why are you working here? I thought you'd be living my dreams?" I laughed bitterly. "Yeah, well, dreams need funding." Her eyes narrowed. "Hold up, are you Iris Noir?" I nearly dropped the coffee pot. "How did you—" "The design style. I'd know it anywhere. That dress that went viral last week? Pure Stacy." She grabbed my arm. "We need to talk. Now." Over my break, I showed her my Instagram page, my sketches, my tiny workspace at home. "This is incredible," she said, scrolling through the orders piling up in my DMs. "But you're doing it all wrong. You need a website, a business plan, a proper PR strategy." She looked up at me. "Let me help. I can't pay you. Give me 10% of the business, and we'll call it even." Within a month, Iris Noir had a sleek website and a waiting list. Greta's PR magic turned my anonymity into mystique. The designer who lets the clothes speak became my trademark. Then came the message from Kaysen Murray. "Dear Iris Noir," it read. "I represent a private investment group interested in emerging designers. We've been watching your growth with interest. Attached is a preliminary offer for funding, contingent on one condition. You maintain your anonymous brand identity. We believe it's your strongest asset." The number in the attachment made me dizzy. "It's legitimate," Greta confirmed after making some calls. "Kaysen Murray is known for spotting underground talent. But why the anonymity clause?" I thought about my family, about Stephanie's smug face, about my mother's dismissal of my silly designs. Because sometimes the best revenge is letting people wonder, I said, signing the contract. That night, I checked my sister's Instagram. She'd posted a long rant about homeless people in LA, not trying hard enough to improve their lives. The irony wasn't lost on me as I counted the coins for my bus fare home. 6 months later, Iris Noir opened its first boutique. I watched from across the street as fashion editors and influencers lined up around the block. Nobody knew that the mysterious designer was the same girl who'd served them coffee months before. My phone buzzed. A text from Greta. "You should be in there." "Not yet," I replied. "This is just the beginning." I walked past the store, just another face in the crowd, and caught a glimpse of my designs in the window. Clean lines, bold choices, undeniable talent. Everything my family said I didn't have. Sometimes success is the sweetest when nobody knows it's yours. At least, not yet. I pulled my jacket closer and headed home to keep working. After all, empires aren't built in a day. They're built in secret, one stitch at a time. "Miss Noir, your 9 o'clock is waiting." My assistant's voice crackled through the intercom. I smiled at the formality, 8 years later, and it still felt surreal hearing that name. From my office on the 48th floor, Los Angeles sprawled out like a glittering carpet. 300 employees worked below me now, none knowing their CEO's real identity. Even the cleaning staff had signed NDAs. "Kaysen," I greeted my COO as he entered. "What's so urgent?" He placed a thick folder on my desk. "The Morrison Group acquisition is complete. We now own controlling interest in Pacific West Lending." "A mortgage company?" I raised an eyebrow. "That's quite a departure from fashion." "Diversification is key," he replied with his characteristic poker face. "Though there's something specific you should see." He flipped to a page marked with a red tab. "This property." My heart stopped. There it was, my childhood address, listed under high-risk mortgages. "Your family's house," Kaysen said quietly. "They've missed 3 payments." My phone buzzed. A Instagram notification. "Stephanie Ellis Law tagged you in a post." I opened it, my jaw clenching. There was my sister, perfectly posed at our parents' annual Sunday roast. The caption read, "Another successful week. Just won a major trademark case. So blessed to have such a supportive family." "Blessed and grateful, your lawyer life." The comments were full of relatives praising her success. Aunt Linda, "So proud of you, a real career woman." Uncle Rob, "That's our girl, making the family proud." "Pull up Stephanie's financial records," I told Kaysen. His fingers flew across his tablet. "She's drowning in debt, student loans, credit cards. She's been borrowing money to maintain appearances. The trademark case? She lost it. Her firm is considering termination." I leaned back in my chair, processing this information. "And our parents?" "Remortgaged the house to help cover her law school debts. Current market value is about $800,000. They owe $950. A knock at the door interrupted us. Greta burst in, her face flushed with excitement. "Have you seen the latest numbers? Iris Noir just hit $1 billion in annual revenue. We need to—" She trailed off, noticing the tension. "What's wrong?" I handed her my phone, open to Stephanie's post. She scrolled through it, her expression darkening. "Still playing perfect princess, I see. Want me to leak those financial records to page 6? "No," I said, standing up. "I have a better idea." I turned to Kaysen. "What happens if Pacific West raises their interest rates?" He adjusted his glasses. "Under the terms of their mortgage, we could legally triple their monthly payments." "Do it." "Stacy," Greta warned. "Are you sure? This is justice," I finished. 8 years ago, they chose to bet everything on Stephanie. Let's see how that bet pays off." My phone buzzed again. A text from Serenity, my young intern. "OMG! Someone just came in wearing an original Iris Noir to their divorce proceedings. Justice in style. I couldn't help but laugh at the timing. There's more, Kaysen added. Your father has been trying to network his way to a meeting with Iris Noir. Apparently, they want to appeal directly to the CEO for leniency. Decline it, Greta said automatically. No, I replied, surprising them both. Accept it, but not yet. Let them sweat a little first. I walked to the window, watching the fashion district bustle below. Somewhere down there, a young designer was probably sketching dreams on coffee shop napkins, just like I once did. Send them a formal notice, I instructed. Give them 30 days to bring the account current. When they can't, have them submit a written appeal. I want to see them grovel. That's cold, Greta said admiringly. I love it. My office door opened again. Ms. Noir? Serenity poked her head in. The Vogue team is here for the winter collection preview. Tell them I'll be right there. I turned to Kaysen and Greta. Let's keep this quiet for now. I want to handle it personally. After they left, I opened Instagram one more time. Mom had commented on Stephanie's post. So proud of my successful daughter. Some people choose the hard road, but you chose wisely. I clicked on my own profile, the mysterious Iris Noir, followed by millions, face never shown. My latest post was a black evening gown, sophisticated and sharp, like a weapon dressed in silk. The caption read, "Success is the best revenge." The comments flooded in. Queen. Iconic. How do you keep outdoing yourself? If they only knew. I grabbed my designer sunglasses and headed to the conference room. Time to show Vogue the new collection. Designs that would be in every major store window when my family's house went into foreclosure. Sometimes Karma needs a little help getting dressed. What do you mean? Triple. Dad's voice echoed through my office speakerphone. I sat silently in the dark, listening to the conference call between my parents and Pacific West's automated customer service. As per Section 12B of your mortgage agreement, the new ownership reserves the right to adjust interest rates with 30 days' notice, the representative droned. This is ridiculous, Mom cut in. We've been customers for 20 years. Where's your humanity? I muted my end of the line, sipping my coffee. The same coffee shop where I'd once worked now catered exclusively to Iris Noir's headquarters. I understand your frustration, Mrs. Get me your supervisor. No, get me the CEO. This is highway robbery. I apologize, but Iris Noir doesn't take personal appointments. I nearly choked on my coffee. The representative had just accidentally revealed the parent company's identity. On my other screen, I watched their Google searches spike. Iris Noir CEO. Iris Noir company owner. Iris Noir real name. My phone lit up with a text from Stephanie. Mom's hysterical. Need your legal expertise now. I forwarded it to Greta, who replied with a cry-laughing emoji. A knock at my door. Ms. Noir. Serenity entered with a stack of papers. The appeals are starting to come in. Your family's is on top. I picked up the letter, written in my mother's perfect penmanship. Dear Ms. Noir, we are writing to appeal for mercy. Our daughter Stephanie, a promising young attorney, is facing some temporary setbacks. We've invested everything in her future. Surely, as a successful businesswoman, you understand the importance of supporting real career paths. The letter slipped from my fingers. Are you okay? Serenity asked, concerned. They still don't get it, I whispered. After all these years, they still think... I stopped myself. Thank you, Serenity. That will be all. Later that afternoon, Greta burst into my office. You need to see this. Stephanie just posted a TikTok rant about predatory lending practices. She's trying to rally support against Iris Noir. I watched the video. My sister, makeup perfect despite her distressed appearance, calling for a boycott of our brand. The irony was delicious. "She's got 200 views," Greta snorted. "We get that many sales every minute." My office phone buzzed. "Ms. Noir? There's a Mr. Stanley on line 1. He says he's an old friend of Judge Morrison." Dad, pulling strings. Always the businessman. "Put him through." I deepened my voice slightly, the way I did for all business calls. "This is Iris Noir. Ms. Noir, thank you for taking my call." Dad's voice was all smooth professionalism. "I believe we have a mutual friend in Judge Morrison." "The judge mentioned you." I lied. "Something about a desperate situation." He cleared his throat. "My family's in trouble. This interest rate increase, it would destroy us. We're good people, Ms. Noir. We've worked hard, made sacrifices." Sacrifices? I couldn't help myself. Like choosing one child's future over another's? Silence. I don't understand. Just curious. Do you have other children besides the lawyer?" "That's rather personal," he stammered. "But yes, we had another daughter. She chose a different path." "And how did that work out?" "She disappeared. Probably homeless in LA somewhere, chasing pipe dreams about fashion." He laughed nervously. "But about our mortgage—" "Mr. Stanley," I cut in, my voice ice cold. "I'll tell you what. I'll meet with you and your family. Next Thursday, 2 p.m. My office." "Thank you. Thank you so much. Don't thank me yet." I hung up. Greta, who'd been listening, whistled low. "That was twisted. I love it. Get me our best makeup artist," I told her. "The one who does transformations for movies. For Thursday's meeting, I want to be unrecognizable." "Already on it. But Stacy," she sat down across from me. "Are you ready for this? To face them?" I pulled up Stephanie's TikTok again. In the background of her video, I could see my old room, converted into a home gym. All traces of my existence erased. "They erased me once," I said quietly. "Now I get to return the favor." My phone pinged with a news alert. Iris Noir's holiday collection sells out in minutes. Mystery designer's empire continues to grow. Below, it was another alert. Pacific West Lending announces aggressive new collection policies. I closed both notifications and pulled up the family photo from Sunday roast. They looked so smug, so certain of their choices. In 1 week, I'd be sitting across from them in this very office. "Send the official meeting confirmation," I told Greta. "And make sure the conference room temperature is set to 65 degrees. That's oddly specific." I smiled. Mom always said cold rooms make people uncomfortable, and uncomfortable people make mistakes. Like underestimating their daughter. "Hold still," the makeup artist muttered, adding another layer of contouring to my face. "When I'm done, your own mother won't recognize you." "That's the point," I said, watching my reflection transform. The woman in the mirror looked a decade older, sharper, with high cheekbones and calculating eyes. A stranger wearing my skin. Greta paced behind me. "They're in the lobby. Your mother's wearing that awful pearl necklace she always bragged about. The one she promised would be mine if I grew up to be somebody." I laughed. How fitting. A knock at the door. Serenity entered, clutching her tablet. "Ms. Noir, I was organizing the design archives and found something interesting." She held up a familiar sketch. My red cocktail dress from that night 8 years ago, coffee stains still visible on the edges. "Where did you find this?" "Margaret from the Fashion Foundation donated her entire collection to us last month. She passed away last week." My chest tightened. I hadn't known. "She left a note with this sketch," Serenity continued. "Sometimes the greatest acts of kindness are simply believing in someone when no one else will." "Ms. Noir?" My assistant's voice crackled through the intercom. The Ellis family is getting restless. I stood up, smoothing down my black designer suit. One of my own creations, naturally. Let's not keep them waiting. The walk to the conference room felt like floating. Through the glass walls, I could see them. Mom nervously adjusting her pearls, Dad pretending to check his phone, Stephanie in a knockoff designer suit, trying to look important. Remember, Greta whispered, you're Iris Noir. You're untouchable. I entered silently, letting them squirm for a moment before speaking. Mr. and Mrs. Ellis, Miss Stephanie, please, sit. Ms. Noir, Dad started, extending his hand. I ignored it. Let's discuss your situation. I opened their file. 3 missed payments, multiple late fees, a history of refinancing to fund. What exactly? My daughter's law degree, Mom said proudly. She's very successful. Is she? I slid across a printout of Stephanie's credit report. Because according to this, she's about to be terminated from her firm. Something about losing major cases? Stephanie's face went white. How did you... I make it my business to know everything about people who owe me money. I turned to another page, including the fact that you've been lying to your parents about your income while borrowing money from them. Now see here, Dad bristled. Our family matters are private. Nothing is private when you're in debt, Mr. Ellis. Tell me, was it worth it? Betting everything on one child? Mom's eyes narrowed. What do you mean? I understand you had another daughter? The one you cut off for pursuing fashion design? That's not... We didn't... Mom stuttered. Stacy made her choice. And how's that choice looking now? I gestured to the office around us. The fashion industry seems to be doing quite well. What does this have to do with our mortgage? Stephanie snapped. I pressed a button, and the walls lit up with digital displays. Sales figures, revenue charts, global market presence, all showing Iris Noir's meteoric rise. Everything, I said softly, because choices have consequences. You chose to believe in law degrees over creativity, in status over talent, and now you're at the mercy of someone who built an empire out of silly designs. The color drained from Mum's face. What did you say? Your appeal is denied, I continued, standing. You have 30 days to bring the account current, or foreclosure proceedings will begin. Please, Dad begged. We can work something out. Maybe if we could speak to Stacy, get her to help. Stacy? I laughed coldly. The homeless failure chasing pipe dreams in LA? Why would she help you? Because she's family, Mom whispered, but her voice wavered. Family? I pressed a final button. The screens filled with their social media posts from the past 8 years. Every dismissive comment about artists, every boast about Stephanie, every family photo where my absence wasn't even noticed. You don't get to play the family card now, I said, walking to the door. Meeting's over. Wait, Stephanie called out. Do I know you from somewhere? I paused, hand on the doorknob. For a moment, I considered revealing everything, but looking at their desperate faces, I realized something. The anticipation of karma is sometimes sweeter than its delivery. No, I said finally, but you will. I left them sitting there, surrounded by evidence of their mistakes, and walked back to my office where Greta waited. Well, she asked, tell Kaysen to start the foreclosure paperwork. I looked out at the LA skyline. And call my stylist. For the next meeting, I want them to see exactly who they threw away. Sometimes the best revenge is served in installments. The foreclosure notice arrived on a Tuesday. I watched through the security feed as a courier delivered it to my childhood home. Mom's hand shook as she signed for it. They're here, Greta announced, exactly 1 week later. And Stephanie's wearing one of our dresses. A knockoff, obviously. How fitting. I stood before the mirror, examining my transformation. This time there was no heavy makeup, no aging contours. Just me, but elevated, polished, powerful. The real Stacy, the one they never thought I could become. Are you sure about this? Greta squeezed my hand. I've never been more sure of anything. The conference room was colder today, just as I'd ordered. Mum clutched her pearls, shivering slightly. Dad's suit looked wrinkled. He'd probably slept in his car again, based on the security reports. Stephanie paced nervously, her fake designer heels clicking on the marble floor. Please sit, I said, entering the room. My voice was my own this time, no affected accent or deeper tone. Mom frowned, tilting her head. Recognition flickered in her eyes, but confusion won out. It had been 8 years, after all. Ms. Noir, please, Dad began, his voice breaking. We've exhausted every option. We've called every bank, every friend. Even Stacy, Stephanie interrupted. We tried finding her, but she's just gone. Gone, I raised an eyebrow. Or just not looking to help the people who threw her away. We didn't throw her away, Mom protested. We were trying to protect her from wasting her life on silly designs, I finished, watching their faces freeze. Tell me, how much is that dress you're wearing worth, Stephanie? She glanced down at her knockoff. It's an Iris Noir original. No, I said softly. It's a cheap copy of my spring collection. The real one costs $12,000. I should know. I designed it. The silence was deafening. What? Mom's voice was barely a whisper. What did you say? I stood, walking to the window. You know, I used to sketch designs in this very spot. Back when I was serving coffee downstairs. Before Iris Noir existed. Before I built this tower. Before I bought the company that holds your mortgage. No, Dad breathed. It's not possible. I turned back to face them. Still think I should have gone to law school, Mother? Stephanie stumbled backward, knocking over her chair. Stacy? In the flesh. I smiled, not warmly. Though I go by Ms. Noir in this building. Mom's pearls clattered against the table as her hand flew to her throat. But you were nothing. You had nothing. I had talent and determination. Remember? The 2 things you said would never be enough? Dad stood up, his businessman facade cracking. Sweetheart, if we'd known what? I cut him off. That I'd succeed. That's the problem, Dad. You never thought I could. You bet everything on the wrong daughter. Is that what this is about? Stephanie found her voice. Revenge? You're going to make our parents homeless because you're bitter? Bitter, I laughed. I'm worth billions. I have stores in 30 countries. My designs are worn by queens and presidents. I'm not bitter, Stephanie. I'm triumphant. I pressed a button, and the screens lit up with headlines. Iris Noir, the billion-dollar mystery. Fashion's most enigmatic success story. The designer who conquered the world. This building? I continued. I own it. That law firm you're about to be fired from? I'm their biggest client. That house you're about to lose? I could buy it 1,000 times over with what I make in a month. Then help us, Mom pleaded. We're family. Family? I picked up her foreclosure notice. Like when you turned my room into a gym before I'd even left the driveway? Or when you celebrated Stephanie's graduations while telling everyone I was probably dead in a ditch? Tears streaked Mom's makeup. We were wrong. We see that now. No, I said quietly. You're not sorry you were wrong. You're sorry I succeeded. There's a difference. What do you want? Dad asked. Money? Public apology? I want you to feel what I felt. To know what it's like to have everything you built crumble because someone decided your dreams weren't worth believing in. I walked to the door, then paused. You have 24 hours to vacate the property. Consider this your official notice. Stacy, please, Mom called out. I turned one last time. It's Ms. Noir. Stacy was the daughter you threw away. I'm the woman who rose from those ashes. The door closed behind me with a satisfying click, leaving them in the cold room with nothing but the weight of their choices. And outside, the Los Angeles sun shone brilliantly on the Iris Noir logo, 48 stories high. I made it halfway to my office before the clicking of heels behind me grew louder. You vindictive bitch! Stephanie's voice echoed through the hallway. Security moved to intercept her, but I held up my hand. Let her through. She stormed into my office, mascara streaking down her face. You orchestrated all of this. You bought that loan company just to destroy us. Funny how karma works, isn't it? I settled behind my desk. Almost as funny as your fake designer dress. I lost everything because of you. No, I corrected her. You lost everything because you couldn't admit failure. How many cases did you actually win this year, Stephanie? 2? 3? The door burst open again. Mom and Dad rushed in, security guards trailing helplessly behind them. Enough! Dad shouted. You've made your point, Stacy. You're successful. You won. Now stop this madness. I pressed the intercom. Greta, bring in the file. Moments later, Greta entered with a thick manila envelope. She shot my family a disgusted look before placing it on my desk. What's that? Mom asked, her voice trembling. 8 years of receipts. I started laying out papers. Every nasty social media post. Every time you told relatives I was probably dead or homeless. Every celebration photo where you proudly proclaimed having one perfect daughter. Every loan you took out to maintain Stephanie's facade of success. We were worried about you, Mom whispered. Really? I pulled out my phone, playing a saved voicemail. Mom's voice filled the room. Honestly, Linda, it's better she's gone. At least now we can focus on our real achiever. Mom's face crumpled. I didn't mean... You meant every word. I stood up. Just like you meant it when you said I'd never be more than a seamstress begging for coins. Stephanie slumped into a chair. So what happens now? You throw us out on the street? Destroy our lives completely? You did that yourselves. I walked to the window. The house goes up for auction next week. Stephanie's firm will receive an anonymous tip about her falsified case records. And you, I turned to my parents, will finally understand what it feels like to have nothing. We're still your parents, Dad tried. Parents? I laughed. Parents support their children. Parents believe in dreams. You were just investors who backed the wrong horse. And what about you? Stephanie shot back. Living behind a fake name, hiding your face for years. Some success story. I hid because I wanted to succeed on pure talent, I replied. No family connections, no handouts, no advantages, just skill and determination. The 2 things you said I lacked. Please, Mom stepped forward. Give us another chance. We can be a family again. A family? I pressed another button on my desk. The walls lit up with photos. Me at fashion shows, accepting awards, opening stores worldwide. I built my own family. People who believed in me. People who saw my worth. The door opened again. Serenity entered, freezing when she saw the scene. I'm sorry, Ms. Noir. I didn't know... It's okay, Serenity? What is it? Vogue is here for your cover shoot. They're waiting in the studio. Mom's eyes widened. Cover shoot? Yes, I smiled. Iris Noir is finally revealing her identity. Imagine the headlines. Disowned daughter builds billion-dollar empire. You can't, Stephanie gasped. The humiliation. The truth, I corrected. Sometimes it hurts worse than any revenge. I gathered my things, heading for the door. Security will escort you out. Don't bother trying to contact me again. As far as I'm concerned, You stopped being my family the day you chose status over love. Stacy! Dad called out, his voice breaking. How could you do this to us? I paused at the doorway, thinking of that night 8 years ago, of coffee-stained sketches and broken dreams. I learned from the best, Dad. You taught me exactly how to throw away family. The door closed behind me, but not before I heard Mom's sobs. Greta fell into step beside me. The Vogue team is ready, she said. Are you sure about going public? I thought about the young designers out there, the dreamers being told their passions were worthless. Yes, it's time the world knew that sometimes the biggest success stories start with someone saying you'll never make it. We walked toward the studio, leaving behind the wreckage of my former family. Sometimes revenge isn't about destroying someone else. It's about rebuilding yourself so completely that they don't recognize what they threw away. And sometimes the best revenge is letting them watch you shine. The Vogue cover hit newsstands on a crisp autumn morning. My face, proud, unapologetic, and very much alive, stared out from every magazine rack in the country. The designer they doubted, Iris Noir, reveals all. The phone hasn't stopped ringing, Greta said, dropping a stack of messages on my desk. Every talk show in America wants you. Ellen, Oprah, The View. I was about to respond when Serenity burst in. Ms. Noir, you need to see this. She held up her phone. A GoFundMe page titled, Help the Ellis Family Recover. The description, written by Stephanie, painted a tragic tale of a vengeful daughter destroying her loving family over a simple misunderstanding. It has $12, Serenity added, and one of those was from me because I felt bad. I couldn't help but laugh. Have you checked on them? They're staying at a Motel 6 off the highway, Greta reported. Stephanie's been disbarred for ethics violations. Your mother tried selling her pearls, but they turned out to be fake. The irony wasn't lost on me. Ms. Noir, my assistant's voice crackled through the intercom. There's a young woman here. Says she was kicked out by her parents for wanting to be a painter. I stood up immediately. Send her in. The girl couldn't have been more than 18, clutching a worn portfolio much like I once had. Her eyes widened when she recognized me from the magazine cover. I'm sorry, she stammered. I read your story, and I thought maybe... Show me, I said softly. She spread her paintings across my desk, vibrant, raw, full of the same hunger I once had. My parents say art isn't a real career. They won't help with art school, and you're not going to let that stop you. I pressed the intercom again. Call the foundation. Tell them we have our first scholarship recipient. The girl's eyes filled with tears. Really? Really? I handed her a tissue. On one condition. When you make it, help the next dreamer they try to silence. After she left, clutching acceptance papers and crying happy tears, Greta gave me a knowing look. That was you, wasn't you? 8 years ago? Maybe, I smiled, but she'll write her own story. My phone buzzed, a text from Dad. The motel wants us out. Please, just talk to us. Delete. Another buzz. Mom this time. I sold my wedding ring. Was that worth enough revenge for you? Delete. Stephanie. I hope you're happy. You destroyed everything. I started to delete this one too, but instead, I typed back. No, Stephanie. I built everything. You destroyed yourselves. Block. The auction is tomorrow, Greta reminded me. Are you going? I looked out at the city, at the billboards bearing my designs, at the stores with my name. No, but I want you to buy the house. What? Why? Because I'm turning it into a design school, for kids whose families don't believe in them. I handed her the paperwork. The Iris Noir Foundation for Creative Dreams. That's... Greta wiped her eyes. That's perfect. A knock at the door. Kaysen entered with a small package. This was left at reception. It's been scanned. It's safe. Inside was a coffee-stained sketch, my original red cocktail dress design, and a note from Margaret's estate. She kept this all these years. Said it reminded her that sometimes the greatest designs come from broken dreams. I pinned the sketch on my wall, right next to the Vogue cover. Miss Noir? Serenity poked her head in. The Today Show is calling again. They want to know what you'd say to your family if they're watching. I thought about it for a moment, then smiled. Tell them I'd say thank you. Thank you? Greta looked shocked. Yes. Thank you for teaching me that the only approval I needed was my own. Thank you for showing me that sometimes the worst rejection leads to the best direction. And thank you for proving that success isn't about who believes in you at the beginning. It's about who you become despite them. I picked up a pencil and started sketching. A new design was forming. Something bold, uncompromising, free. And Serenity? Tell them one more thing. What's that? Tell them that sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about getting better, and then helping others do the same. Outside my window, a young designer walked out of the building, clutching her acceptance papers, ready to prove someone wrong. Just like I did. Just like I always will. Because some dreams are too beautiful to silence, and some victories are best celebrated by holding the door open for those coming up behind you. That's the real power of revenge, turning it into revolution.